this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. I have a very special treat for you today. I got a clip when I was at the Raw and Living Spirit Retreat in Molalla, Oregon. The website is rawandlivingspirit.org. So I did the barehanded durian opening ceremony, so I love the durian fruit. It's a great fruit, so if you don't know about it, let's go ahead and move into that clip and you can check it out. Alright, so behold the mighty durian, full of spikes. And you don't want these dropping on your head either when you're in the forest, because they will do some serious damage.
Is that a fruit?
Yes, so this is a tropical fruit. It's grown in, the trees are from Asia, Southeast Asia. Let's see, in the United States, they can grow in Hawaii with a little bit of challenge. It's a very temperamental fruit, unlike a lot of tropical fruits. It really needs exact climate and pollination and everything. And so my friend in Maui, he grows these, and these are just the hybridized variety, and I've even had wild durians, which are actually about this size, a little bit bigger than this.
Wow.
And they have like a little bit of flesh in there, and it's just amazing. They're kind of more, they're like more not as sweet.
So this hasn't been frozen?
Yes, it
So, yeah, so you could get durian in two ways, either frozen or fresh. If you're buying durian at the Asian market, usually is where you get it. If it's between the price of $1 to $1.50 or $2, it's probably been previously frozen, even if it's been sitting out and it seems like it's kind of fresh.
per pound.
Per pound, right? So that could be between, like, I don't know, about maybe $5 to $10 per fruit. Or sometimes you could find fresh ones. And I would caution anybody to, before they buy a fresh one, because most fresh ones are picked a little bit too early in my experience. And when you buy a fresh one, then they're about $6 to $7 a pound. So one fruit will cost you $40 to $50. So imagine getting a $40 to $50 unripe fruit. I can tell you from personal experience, it's not fun, because the Chinese places don't give you back your money like Whole Foods does if you don't like it. So that being said, I guess we'll get on to the opening. So inside there's basically pods. So when you're selecting a durian, what I like to do is I like to look at the durian, and we want to select one. You can kind of see some of these have some green tinge to it. I like to select ones that have a nice golden color as much as possible. And then the other thing I like to do is I like to smell it. Sometimes you can't really smell it, but to me it smells like custard vanilla. But I'll tell you a funny story. One time I had fresh durian. I got it in San Francisco at Chinatown, and I took it with me because I was like leaving to a trip to the Chicago Houseware Show, where I sourced out all kinds of kitchen gadgets. And I took it with me, and I had it fresh, and I took it to eat for lunch that day. And they have their, cafeteria, and they're selling hamburgers and all the junk. And I take out my durian, and I'm eating my durian. And then, I was probably eating it. I like to chew my food, as some of you may know, and chewing is very important. So I'm eating my durian. I'm getting kind of full near the end, but I'm still just sitting there kind of watching people and smelling their nasty stuff. And so the fire department comes in, and they're like looking for a gas leak. And I'm going like, what's going on? And they're like, and then some guy comes over to me and smells it. It's coming from here. It's this guy's lunch. And I'm like, yeah, there's no gas leak. This kind of smells like it, but it's all right. So then all the fire department left, and I was just finishing my lunch, almost finished. And then a lady came by that, I guess worked for the convention center or something, and she's like, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. I said, why? She said, people are complaining that your lunch stinks. And I'm like, well, I'm not complaining that their lunch stinks, but you're not ejecting them. And I put up a little bit of a stink, and then she's like, well, either we could eject you and have you not come back, or you could leave peacefully. Well, she didn't say peacefully, but basically those were her words, or what she meant. And so I'm like, okay, I'll leave. So I left. So, and I've also eaten durian on airplanes, and I don't recommend that either. So, I've eaten a lot of kimchi's, and, but they'll shut me down, literally, because people just don't like the smells. But these are natural smells, and some durians smell better than others. So hopefully I've picked the ripe one. And you want to definitely thaw these out, generally about at least 12 hours, if not 24 hours from the time you get them frozen, so that you can open them with your bare hands, or otherwise you better use a knife. And these are sharp, so you must be very careful You can see the indentations by hand here, and I think it's fun. It's a free reflexology. What? All the durians, to my knowledge, I mean, they have a nice fragrance. I wouldn't call them stink.
People either
So what are their good qualities, John?
What?
What are their good qualities?
The good qualities is they're very high in sulfur. They're one of the highest sulfur-rich foods, and so they may also cause some flatulence with some people.
Can you smell it before you open it?
Well, you could smell. I'm opening one, and then you could come up later and smell them. The smell will be much more distinct once I open it. And so the other thing I want
You said
to,
it smelled like vanilla custard before you opened it.
well, it'll smell like that
well,
after.
it's
It's not going to change. The other thing is you'll notice the inside the fruit. You'll see when I open it up, it's like an alien, and there's like little pods. So if you look at this one, here's one pod here, one pod here, one pod here, and one pod here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 pods on this fruit. And then you can see some of the pods are smaller, so this is a small pod. So when you're selecting them, sometimes it's good to pick ones that have larger pods.
That was the largest pod in all of the bunch. It was a real bad bunch of durians.
Yeah, sometimes you get good ones and sometimes you get bad ones. Maybe another raw foodist was right before picking through all the good ones. So I guess without further ado, we'll get into opening it.
Do you mix them with other foods?
Got them at Fubon.
Make puddings
I
with
recommend
them,
that you eat durians alone. The one thing that I have done before, and it's when my Blendtec blender happened to, the bearing went out and then it ruined my smoothie, but I blended fresh durian, or you could do frozen, with like coconut meat and coconut water. It's an excellent combination. Well, I don't know about excellent food combination, but it's an excellent tasting combination. So let's see, the next thing is we're gonna find a nice seam here. So like right here, and then we just take the fingers carefully,
Oh, wow.
and you can see, and once you get it open a little bit, that's what you wanna do, and then you wanna get your fingers in on the seam and not on the little spiky things that'll cut you. So you gotta really take your time and know what you're doing, or you will get cut.
So ladies, if you've given birth, this is what it looks like from the other end.
So this is like the shell that you don't eat. This is the flesh you eat, and inside the flesh there's a seed. And if you want to try to propagate these, the seeds have a very limited lifespan, and they can only use if they're fresh. Obviously, if they're frozen, the seeds aren't going to be viable anymore. So the thing you could also eat is this kind of pudding stuff here. I'll scrape it off in my hand. This is also edible, but it's not as sweet as the fruit.
Okay, see if anyone else wants to open another one. Another volunteer?
I'd like to try.
Okay, come on. Beverly's gonna open one.
It really does like anatomy. I've never seen it. Like, I know. I was going to say. But you can rub them. Yeah. I guess. More than one. Yeah, there's more than one. Oh, it's crazy.
Very yummy after you learn that it's but first you have to learn that it's yummy.
That's so true.
Yeah, first it tastes like
It's like surgical.
you'd be like, what are you guys eating? And it looks like a chicken. It looks like a chicken roast.
It does.
Eat it now.
I don't smell anything either. Yeah.
Got a cold.
All right. So if you're going to try to open it barehanded, I didn't get cut today, but sometimes I do. Be very careful. So I hope you've enjoyed my barehanded durian opening that you just saw. And I do want to caution you once again, if you do choose to open a durian with your bare hands, do so at your own risk. They are quite sharp, and I have gotten cut before. So much safer to use a knife if you're not really into it, but it's definitely a cool thing to open that fruit with your bare hands and eat it. So once again, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're good stuff.